you will always see articles saying is PR dead, just as we're seeing a lot of articles around saying SEO is dead. And I've seen this over the years. No, will blogging kill PR? Spoiler alert, it didn't. Will SEO kill PR? Spoiler alert, it didn't. So will social kill PR? You know my answer by now. But it's very much one of those things where PR has learned to evolve. It's not always grasped or made the most of the opportunities presented by digital and data, but this is another chance to get it right and for the industry to shine and excel, and equally for the people coming into it to shine and excel. And it, as I say, to me, it's tremendously exciting. Hi, my name is Craig McGill, and I started out in PR, like so many of my contemporaries, as a journalist. And then after a decade or so in journalism, I moved into the world of PR, working with a lot of UK household names, including the likes of Lloyd's TSB, Brewdog, Dawn Construction. Gathered quite a breadth of experience, learning, seeing where my skills lay best and where I could deliver the best result for clients. And over time, I felt drawn towards the potential that was given to communicators like myself through digital. And at the time, that was more using the power of website and blogs, but obviously that then developed into social media and other channels, podcasts, video, short form content. And what became quite apparent to me was one of the great things from this was, as we moved more into digital streams, the amount of data you could get on your audience was so much better than it had ever been in the past. You could move from saying, well, you appeared in a publication that has a print run of 4 million every day, so therefore 4 million people saw your article, which was always a bit hit or miss, to actually moving into more in-depth. You could say, look, X amount of people read this article, they clicked on a link in it, that brought them back to the website. And what's great about that and what's exciting is that data then lets PR become more of a full-blown management function, just instead of being someone who's asked to write words for a website or a blog or similar. I think one of the first campaigns that I was involved with is one that's made a lasting legacy with me. And it was working with a well-known whiskey brand, an international giant. And at the time, you're going back to about 2010, 2011 here. So it's ye olde days in terms of digital. But what we found was that I had come on board in part as an experiment, but also to see what the digital landscape could do for the whiskey brands. And by plugging in analytics, by using Google Analytics, I know it's everyone's standard tool these days, but back then not everyone was using it. And it was fascinating to see just how much content was landing in different territories. And I remember a lot of people saying, well, does it really matter? And what we learned was that yes, because if you were running a campaign in Germany, you wanted to make sure your content, your PR, your engagement, your online presence was all landing well in Germany. And if the analytics showed you that it wasn't, then you had a chance to actually rectify it during a campaign. Equally, if you were trying to reach out to America or to Russia or to Australia, you could see what worked, and just the data that came back to you was fascinating. And I remember at one point actually talking to other people in the whiskey field, and one of the competitor brands got in touch and said, you're actually responsible for 10% of the traffic sent to our website. And we can't actually tell if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because traditionally competitor brands don't talk about each other. But there we were, showing that we were industry leaders, talking about others, and had such a reach and influence that we were able to send traffic to other brands. Now, some people would say that was a good thing, some people would say that's a bad thing. But again, That depends on knowing what your goals are and what you're looking to achieve from each campaign. So that was a really good one. Another one that was really exciting was when Scotland launched its own domain name, .scot, unsurprisingly enough. And what, as part of a team at Weber Shandwick, what again that we found fascinating here was something we thought might just be of interest to the Scottish community, perhaps the wider UK, had huge appeal and huge interest internationally. And again, it was the data that let us see this, that people in Canada, in Germany, in Australia, in America, all had huge interest in this. And again, we could see what content was landing with them. We did research to make sure we were doing the right content so that, if an area preferred video, they got video. If another area preferred text, it got text. And again, you could just learn and see what was landing, what wasn't, what worked well, and what didn't. And again, these campaigns could have been done without data, but data enriched the results, and it also meant that you could be more agile in terms of seeing if something after 1 week wasn't working. Instead of just sticking the course, you could say, right, let's change things about. Let's see what we need to do to make this a success. And I think that's where data and digital combined give PR operators so many more chances for success, because you can change things on the fly if you need to. I think for me, there was a situation many years ago when I was working with a drinks brand, and we had implemented strong data measurement at the time. We were using, if I recall correctly, Sprout Social for monitoring social. We were using Google Analytics for measuring the web traffic. And we had launched a fairly high profile campaign in Germany. And we expected this to deliver good results, both in terms of awareness and financially. And we had rolled out a strong mix of content that we thought, right, this will appeal to everyone. And unfortunately, because it was the earlier days of the web in particular, and we had run this campaign remotely, we weren't as familiar as we should have been with local laws and customs around what you could promote, what should be said, and that sort of thing. And what happened was that we name-checked the global celebrities that we felt everyone would love. They were big in the US, they were big in the UK, they were big in the majority of Europe. But at the time, we didn't necessarily realize that, especially one of the people, toxic would be a stretch, but they weren't well perceived in Germany. And so by virtue of that caused the campaign to stutter a little. And then we also put out promotional activities, inviting people to have free whiskey and free drinks. And again, just because of certain quirks in German marketing laws, which are perfectly fair and valid, we just weren't aware of them, then we were caught unawares and had to change the campaign very, very quickly, but very much also mid-course. And in the days before digital giving us that awareness, the campaign would have just run as planned and would have potentially fallen very, very flat on its face. So I'm always glad that digital let us save that campaign and turn it into a success. And for me, that's one I always remember well. So for me, metrics is a vital part of the day-to-day part of a PR job now, regardless of the level you're at. And the main metrics that I consider important are your share price if you're working for a public company, because again, the value of what's happened to your share price gives you an indication if anything's happening that you have to act on as a communications professional. But you're also looking to see what sort of coverage you've had in the last sort of 24 or 12 hours, depending on how often you check these things, how your share of voice measures up against your competitors, and if it's tracking with the topics that you wish to be discussing and be seen discussing publicly. And from that as well, it's also the sentiment of what's being reported about your brand. Is it positive? Is it neutral? Is it negative? Hopefully not. And also on top of that, I always find it prudent to check the website traffic for a day, and also our latest social media statistics. And obviously you have longer term data that you look at, perhaps weekly, perhaps monthly, depending on your goals. I mean, obviously call to actions, seeing how many people have been on a customer journey, how long they're watching videos for. All of these things are very important, but for me, the key day-to-day ones are your share of voice, the sentiment behind what's being said, and the share price. The one magic tool I would love to see for PR and comms people is a form of an alert that says 12 months ago this topic was being covered in this sector. For example, 12 months ago damp was being spoken about a lot in the housing sector, or 8 months ago the entertainment industry press was talking a lot about a certain actor or movie, and there's a strong probability that X topic will be covered again this year, because I know we all have editorial calendars, we have forward feature planners, but sometimes it would be great to have a tool that could say this was something that happened and was covered well, it might happen again. I'm in the UK, we're obsessed with the weather. It would be great if there was a tool that said, in 2022, the coldest and dampest day of the year was October the 15th, and there was a lot of coverage in the press around this, because then I could go, right, is there a strong chance that'll happen again? What planning and content can I put in place for PR? But equally, what spokespeople can I have ready to talk about it? And also, should I tell the marketing team so that the product is in place and the website is geared up for a potential spike in traffic? So almost that crystal ball would be phenomenal. And while we don't have it yet, I think the tech exists for it to be something we could see in a couple of years. The AI landscape in PR has developed incredibly in the last 12 months, and that must be incredibly gratifying to people like Andrew Bruce Smith, Stephen Waddington in the UK, who, and there are other experts from further afield in marketing like Katie King, people who have been saying for years that this is coming, we should be looking into it, we should have ethics and governance process in place. But it's only really been since ChatGPT exploded onto the landscape and everyone became aware of OpenAI in 2022 that it's really developed. And I think it's an exciting time. I think, as with a lot of things, there's potential pitfalls and minefields to avoid, and we're all on a huge learning journey together. To me, it almost has that feel of about 2010, 2011, where everyone was excited by the potential of social and by doing proper engagement on handheld devices, because before that, everyone had been laptop and desktop, and the iPhone was the one that really showed us the potential of good engagement via handheld. And to me, there's a buzz around the community in the sense of what can be learned, what can we do with this, but there's also so many pitfalls, and that's why, again, PR, marketing need to be making sure their concerns, their fears, but also their optimisms are heard at the highest levels, at the C-suite for sure. I think this is a hugely exciting time to be entering the industry. I mean, it's an industry I've seen be so rewarding to so many people over the years. And what's brilliant is that every generation that comes in brings a new thing, brings new viewpoints, brings new learnings for people of all ages. And I think with AI and data being the key topics at the moment, I think there's huge opportunities there for people to come in to learn at the same, more or less learn at the same rate and the same pace as the CMOs, the chief content officers, the directors of PR, and to an extent that levels the playing field. And also for those who grasp the potential and opportunities quickly, they'll have a great career, but B, in the shorter term, they'll be able to advance really quickly because there's a lot of people still grasping the potential of this. A lot of people still just use the likes of ChatGPT, Midjourney, Jasper. They're using them all in a very basic way. So when you have people coming in who, for lack of a better term, are prompt engineers and know how to get the best out of these tools, they will quickly make names and careers for themselves. So, yep, you will always see articles saying, is PR dead? Just as we're seeing a lot of articles around saying SEO is dead. And I've seen this over the years. No, will blogging kill PR? Spoiler alert, it didn't. Will SEO kill PR? Spoiler alert, it didn't. So will social kill PR? You know my answer by now. But it's very much one of those things where PR has learned to evolve. It's not always grasped or made the most of the opportunities presented by digital and data, but this is another chance to get it right and for the industry to shine and excel, and equally for the people coming into it to shine and excel. And it, as I say, to me, it's tremendously exciting. There will be a need for PR and communicators, even as Bing Chat, ChatGPT, Google Bard, Poe, and all the other tools continue to develop. So it's not going to put any of us out of a job, but it is going to make us all adapt, think differently, work better, and hopefully be more creative.